Why is Amy in Tim's office?
All right.
Why is what?
Amy in Tim's office.
Is she working in there?
Okay.
Because it's so loud and
Because it was so loud on this side, I think.
I agree.
Aren't you?
Okay. Carmen, give me a thumbs up if you can hear me here. Is that a thumbs up? Okay, there you go. There you go. I just threw my AirPods on. I wasn't sure if that. All right. Very cool. We'll wait a few more minutes here, gang, before we get going. All right. All right, gang, it is 12 o'clock here, and I'm trying to be respectful of everyone's time. This meeting is going to be recorded because there are a handful of folks who are not able to make it today. So all right. Carmen, you got me now? Are we good? I just got muted for some reason. All right, gang, we're going to get started here. It's 12 o'clock. And I want to be respectful of your time. And please know that this is going to be recorded so that you can go back and reference any conversation that happens in here or any questions that you have. So it will be recorded because there are a handful of folks that have some other commitments and they're not able to be in the meeting. So we'll push through here relatively quickly, but we will definitely take some time to answer some questions and get some things going. So my name is Phil Archer for any of those that we have not met yet, and I'm excited to work with you. We also have Carmen Middleton, Randy Hill, and Laura McIntoon, all from the league staff on this call today that will be contributing in some way, shape, or form. And will be contributing in some way, shape, or form to the section and state tournament process for girls swim and dive this year. So very excited to have our staff work with you. I'm excited to work with you, and we're very appreciative of you hosting section tournaments. Okay, so I'm going to open up our agenda here, and Randy, if we could go ahead and start moving. So I mentioned Laura McIntoon, so we'll talk some on the website, and with Tim is unavailable today because he is at a broadcasters board meeting. So Laura is going to touch base on a few topics when it comes to media, and then I will get into the section tournament management, reporting results, and some awards as we move forward. Go ahead, Randy. So, go ahead, Laura. I was going to introduce you. Sorry.
Thanks, Phil, and good afternoon, everyone. A few slides to look through and talk with you about. The first slide here talks about making sure that you have a tournament personnel dashboard on the Minnesota State High School League website. If you do not have one, please contact us at info@mshsl.org. Let us know which section you're working with and which tournament you're working with. If you already have a section tournament personnel dashboard, traditionally that's folks who are region secretaries also, or ADs also, or coaches also, and they may have multiple dashboards. You can toggle between those dashboards down in the blue footer at the very bottom of whichever dashboard you're on. If you have a dashboard, but you don't see the correct tournament on it, That is a task for you to work with your region secretary on. He or she assigns you those tournaments that he or she wants you to manage. On the next slide, you'll see once you get to that dashboard, one up, Randy, please. Once you get to your dashboard, you'll find a section that looks like this. The one that says Fall Tournament Management Documents opens up a folder of all of our fall tournaments. And one of those folders is a swimming and diving folder. That's where you'll find the resources that we provide for you to assist in running your section swim meet. Those are put there by staff in our office and are there for all section managers and those that are managing tournaments. Many of those things are things that you may already be getting from our office in an email, and then they're placed there also. So when you can't find the right email, or if it didn't come in an email, that's really your one-stop shop to go and find all of those section management resources. The next slide has the help guide for the website. I'm going to share with you 3 tasks that are yours to do on the website. Each one of those has a help sheet on this website help guide tab. Another piece on your dashboard to find are the 2 directories. There is a school and a coach directory. That coach directory is especially helpful to you as it will let you filter down by sport, section, and class and get to a list of those coaches that are in your section tournament. You can download a CSV, a spreadsheet of those to be able to most easily communicate out with those folks. If there are coaches on there that are incorrect or accurate, please work with us and or the AD in that school, because that is who the AD has said is their coach. And if that's not accurate, we all need to know that, because that coach then is not getting the best information from us. The next slide has the 3 tasks that are website related that you and or your region secretary should be completing. Please make sure you work with your region secretary, again, because he or she may have already started to do some of these or may be managing these in the region or section that you work in. On the next slide, you'll see the first piece is you need to add information about the date, the venue, and then eventually the schedule or the results. And here's where on your dashboard that information gets entered. Those dates and venues have often been put there already by the region secretary. They try to do these a couple months ahead of time so people can start to plan accordingly. But if you would double check that that information is accurate for your section tournament. The next slide has the spot on the dashboard help guide where you can find how to do that. Again, that's on that website help guide and underneath section events. The second item for you to do is to add resources for your coaches and ADs. On every coach and AD's dashboard, they see a spot that says swimming and diving, comma, girls, and then the section that you're running and that they are in. That middle section there is where you can put resources that they can use to participate in your tournament. These are not seen by the public. These are just seen by those coaches and ADs that are in your tournament. This area of the website is really designed so that every person in that sport and section kind of has all the resources that they need in one spot. So that area has 2 spots, activity and state tournament on the left and right. Those are put there by our staff in the league office. The middle section is put there by you for the tournament that you're running. And again, that gives those coaches and ADs everything they need in one spot to access. And then finally, we'd ask that you upload a results sheet or results from your tournament. Phil and Chris are going to talk about how you send and how those files get to us. Those are really the working files that create things for the state tournament. This is that PDF that fans, spectators, media, anyone else who wants to see what happened at your section event, this is where they can go to find that information. So again, after that tournament, you're going to submit some results to us or through your timing company, but there's also a spot where you as a section manager and or region secretary should be uploading that PDF of all of that information so that fans, spectators, media can find that information. And the final slide I'll talk a little bit about talks about media and attendance at section tournaments. A reminder that during the regular season, schools make information about who's attending media, what kind of media, how it's being streamed for a regular season event. You may be at a school for section events. However, those decisions are now made by the region committee and that region secretary at a section tournament level. So as someone approaches you and says, I'd like to stream this event, that person should be working through the region secretary to make those decisions. If you have media that want to attend, again, those people should be coming through your region secretary to get that access. You make those decisions at a section tournament, again, with your region committee and region secretary about where they can be at a tournament. If you're going to have an interview area, where photographers can be. So think about those things and make some plans again, because you're going to see things that are different at a section tournament, excuse me, than they are during the regular season. There are some resources there for you and your region secretary to use on our media page. But again, just a reminder that that's one of those things, especially if you haven't hosted a tournament before, that you may not think of and may not be right on your radar, but will hit as the tournament nears. Phil, I believe that's all the information I have. I'm going to turn it back to you and I'm going to jump into the chat. If anybody has anything for me, I'll help you out there.
Perfect. Thank you, Laura. I appreciate that. And thanks for going through the website stuff and the media stuff. Two documents, gang, that I'm going to work off of that were sent out to you from Randy Hill is our agenda and also the section meet managers guidelines. So I'm going to be referencing these documents as we run through some things here. So assigning site managers, and really it is not just managers, but finding all of your workers for that event. And when it comes to the meet management aspect, is making sure that they are also in the know. Any leadership that you put in there are also in the know of any rules. And so providing the NFHS rule book if need be, definitely providing the section manager's guide that was emailed out to you, along with emergency protocols and the transfer of care. And all of those were provided to you in the email that Randy sent out. I believe it was Friday. I don't have it up right here, but I think it was late last week or early this week. Okay, go ahead, Randy. All right. So as we roll down the agenda a little bit here to 5, we talk about chain of communication. So local level tournament management or site management, initially to the region secretary, connecting with the region secretary, making sure that the region secretary's contact information is shared with all your leadership at your site. Okay, so that's imperative that they have that communication, the ability to communicate. And then if there's a situation or issue that the region secretary is not able to handle, then you've got my contact information there as well. And most likely that individual would be reaching out to me. And then my office, which gets forwarded to my cell if I'm not in here, and then my cell directly there as well. So keep that as a point of reference for you. Go ahead, Randy. Okay, so section manager's guide and review of materials. And so what I alluded to in the previous slide was that section meet manager's guidelines for swimming and diving. And through there, we hit all of the points from the official rules of the meet, which were just talked about a little bit, down to meet staff, meet entries, dealing with ties, and then the official state swimming standards. So this was emailed off to you. I'm not going to spend a whole ton of time on it. A couple of things that I'm going to just remind you of within the meet manager's guide are the time frames for the state team entry form. So Sunday, November 13th by 10 p.m. is when the schools are required to complete that electronically and submit that form to us at the league office. So just a reminder to get that information to all of them. And then on the dive entry, it is Monday, November 14th by 4 p.m. So those are clearly stated in the meet manager's guide as well. I'm gonna see, I thought I had one other bullet point in here I wanted to touch on. Okay, and then also focusing on the post-event responsibilities. So distribution of all meet results, complete tournament report, and return to your region secretary. And then the post-meets result page on the website, making sure that between you and the region secretary, that is updated and ready to roll. Okay, go ahead, Randy. So emergency protocol, transfer of care, and then COVID resources. So these were all documents that were sent out to you as well, other than the emergency protocol for the individual site. You want to make sure that emergency action plans are in place, and you, the site manager, or any workers that would have a role in that are communicated with on any of those plans. Transfer of care, it would be a good idea to have a hard copy of that for any athletic trainers that are there if any teams bring those. And then as far as COVID resources that was sent out, the COVID protocol is still the same as the 5-day, a student athlete is out for 5 days for a quarantine, and that student can return using the COVID return, I believe it's COVID return to play form, where they do not need a doctor's note or a clearance from a doctor to be able to do that. We just need to document it. Go ahead, Randy. Okay. So I kind of hit on reminding them deadlines and verification. Oh, let's see, Chris is popping in here. And Chris, if you need to pop in and want to add anything, feel free to do that. We didn't get to connect before the call, so Chris, know that you're available to do that. So when it comes down to verification of participation in the section tournament, reminding of the deadlines, which I just mentioned, and then check information on high tech to make sure the teams are using the proper abbreviations. Chris, do you have anything do you want to get into a little bit on high tech for me?
Sure. I just, there's one thing I wanted to point out also on the section meet manager's guide. If you look at F under ties, under page 4, and it says if there is a tie for second position or third position in Class A girls and boys, that should just be for Class A boys. That was a typo where we included girls in there as well. So just to point that out, we'll get that updated and get that to everybody. The high-tech information, I think Laura kind of touched a little bit about this. That high-tech information that is in the computer that you're using to run your events, that is where we pull all of our information from to produce the state meet program and to transfer all the results to the state meet program that's going to run at the aquatic center. So it is of the utmost importance that everyone has, names spelled right, that there isn't any, nicknames in there. Also that grades are included in grades in numerical fashion, not in alpha fashion. So for example, a ninth grader would be 9 not 09 and not FR, you know, indicating freshman. So we need the numerical number so that it is all in uniform with all of the other results that we're going to get in. And if you have problems switching that or anything, I'm always available. My email address is on there. You can contact me through there. And also I'll put my telephone number in the chat. So if something comes up with the high-tech program where you're not able to do something, or you're trying to produce a document and you're unfamiliar with how to do that, you can feel free to reach out to me at any time.
Perfect. Thanks, Chris. Randy, let's go ahead and you can move forward to one more. All right. And so as we talked about a little bit, required that you email section meet database to the league office immediately. And then you've got Chris's email there, and you've got mine as well. And then as Chris just touched on, you know, making sure that the spelling of the qualifiers' names and grades and everything are correct, because that's what's going to be used. Okay, go ahead, Randy. All right, thanks for throwing your number in the chat, Chris. Got that there. All right, awards. Let's move on here. So 1st through 8th place finishers will receive medals, and championship and 2nd place teams will get trophies. So trophies and medals will be shipped directly to the section meet manager or region secretary if the meet manager's name is not provided. Please inspect the trophies and medals immediately upon receipt to make sure that you've received all your trophies and there's no damage to medals, and that the medals are stamped correctly. All right, Randy? Okay. So 1st through 2nd place finishers, 1st through 2nd place finishers for each event, boys class A, 2A, girls A and AA meets. And then 1st through 3rd place finishers for each event in boys class A. Any swimmers from any class that equals or surpasses the time standard, the section final will advance to the qualifying standard. Advance by qualifying standard. Chris, this is something that is kind of new to me on that. I don't know if you want to speak to anything on the qualifying standard and how they advance. That's one thing that I'm still learning a little bit.
Sure. So we have qualifying standards, which an athlete can advance by, and that is developed. It is a 3-year average of 16th place at the state meet prelims, and it cannot fluctuate either up 1% or down 1%. So it's been a pretty tried and true method that we've used for boy. Ken may have a little more historical background on that, but it's been it's been a long time that we've used that qualifying standard procedure. And I've seen swimmers that have been in 9th place or even in 11th place before that have made the qualifying standard at the section meet and have advanced. So it is possible for swimmers that aren't in that, so to say, championship heat on your section final day, that may be in the consolation heat, to advance as long as they make the qualifying standard.
Perfect. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. And then as it refers to diving, the top 4 divers from all section meets, including Class A boys sections, advance as well. All right. So lastly, again, I've got my contact information here with my office that is forwarded to my cell, and my cell just in case, because it is an internet phone line. So sometimes if the service is not the greatest in a certain area or anything like that, as far as Wi-Fi, it might be easier just to call the cell number. So if there is a need, please reach out, and don't hesitate to reach out to both if there's a question. So the state qualifier Zoom is scheduled right now for Monday, November 14th at 10 a.m. And that is a date that you can relay on as well. And then at this time, I think I'll like to just open it up for any questions. Many of you have done this in the past a lot longer than I have, and I'm learning, admittedly, and working with our team here, which are all pretty new as well on this. So if there's any questions, I'm happy to go ahead and try and answer them, or maybe pull Chris or Laura into any answers as well. So with that, if there's any questions, you can feel free to unmute or enter it into the chat. And we'll hang for a minute or two there.
Hi, Phil. This is Brianpellinger. I'm a first-time meet manager, so this is all new to me. I appreciate you guys doing this because it's already answered a number of my questions.
Awesome. Thanks, Brian.
I'm in the 7AA section.
Okay.
I believe the person that did this prior to me last year had issues with uploading the files to the site. I think it had to do with the file sizes.
Okay.
Have you heard anything about that? It might have been when she has to email them to some of the people that put
just simply because of the size of the file.
Yeah, I think it was the high-tech file.
Sometimes
about that, or
well, what was she having problems getting it to the coaches in the section, or was she having problems uploading it to the league website?
Don't know specifically.
Okay, because what happens sometimes with the files that come out of high tech, they're in condensed form, so they're a zip file. So
okay.
If you send them to a school email address, a lot of times schools will have a filter on those and a block. Yeah. And they will not allow those zip files. So okay. what would be the best way to get around that would be to ask the coaches in your section if they want files from the high-tech program to include maybe a home email address, whether it's a Gmail or a Comcast address or something like that. As far as loading them up to the league website, you should not have to upload those zip files to the league website. The only thing that you would really need to load up would be the results, which are produced in a PDF format.
Okay.
And then if you have any problem with those uploading, you can always contact your region secretary and see if they can upload them for you. And if that's not working, then we can get in touch with Laura and figure out if there's something wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, and in any of those events too, Brian, that's why I'm on the agenda and all throughout this slideshow. My phone number's been on there multiple times. So if anything pops up with that, let us know, just because we are in a time frame where Chris and I are probably be working pretty quick on Sunday, getting everything tied in and ready. So don't hesitate to reach out. And if I can't answer the question, I will dig and I'll find an answer to you in a timely manner.
Okay.
Good deal. Thank you for your question.
One thing I wanted to say really quick, Phil, just to everybody here, please make sure that you send those results immediately at the conclusion of your meet. And really what we're looking for is we want you to put the PDF onto the league website. However, it's the meet backup that Phil and I are going to work with. And I know that a lot of times people that may be running the meet get caught up in the hubbub of finishing a long day at the pool, whether it be on a Friday night or a Saturday, and they want to get home. But we've had occurrences where people have, left without sending us the results, and they can't get back into the school until maybe the next morning, or they can't get into the school until Monday morning, or they don't have a password for the computer, or so on and so forth. So just put that on your priority list for right at the conclusion of the meet to send that meet back up to Phil and myself. And there's instructions in there on how to do that, because that is what we are going to work with. And we do have a quicker turnaround with girls, seeing that we have a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday event instead of the traditional Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So it is going to be a little more time constraining for us.
I've got a quick question.
Go ahead.
Okay. In past years, I've noticed that some sections will have results summaries of state qualifiers in the newspaper. Is that something that a section tournament manager would handle, or does the high school league handle that?
In the chat, I answered the question. Yeah, kind of about that. So I know in the past, we used to include in the section meet managers guide a large list of contacts for media to send results to. However, that was based, a lot of that information was prior to the redevelopment of the high school league webpage, and even prior to Tim Layton being hired as a media liaison. And so my suggestion on that, and Phil, you can chime in if you don't agree with it, would be to just send those results to the larger newspapers here in town, the Star Tribune, and to the Pioneer Press. And then if you have a local newspaper, whether it's the Patch or Northwest Community News or whatever it may be, send those to those type of individuals. You don't need to go through the whole entire gamut of lists that we used to have around, because I know that Tim is directing any media to look at the high school league website, because the high school league went into a lot of work to develop this webpage, and they want to drive the traffic towards there and use that kind of as their one-stop shop for finding information for the press and things like that.
Okay.
Yep. Thanks for answering that, Chris. I did see your email come through this morning on that, so I'm in agreement. Thank you. Anyone else? Any other questions or thoughts? And again, this will be recorded. Brian, go ahead.
When I went through the material that was sent out prior to the meeting, I read through the emergency protocol for injuries. I don't know whether I'll have a trainer on site or not. The region secretary is still looking into that. And a lot of it seems to key off them making an assessment of things.
Mm-hmm.
So if there is no person, I mean, am I making the assessment with the coach if we need to call 911, or any thoughts on that?
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Chris.
What I would say, this is kind of how I look at swimming and diving. If your region secretary is maybe, I know there is a large shortage of trainers out there, so that may play into the cards here. But if they're looking at it from being cost prohibitive to have someone there, when I talk to people, I always say, hey, with swimming and diving, yeah, somebody could possibly get hurt, maybe break something or whatever. But I was like, the most catastrophic thing that we could happen is people die. They drowned and they die. So you might want to stress that to your region secretary, so they can maybe get on board if they're a little apprehensive about hiring somebody. No one wants to make a call medically when we're not trained to make that call. And if we can have somebody that's a professional on site, it makes things a lot easier for all of us, coaches, athletes, parents, administrators, and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Brian, I would definitely say I would recommend that your region secretary get on finding an athletic trainer, one, and then two, if there's a scenario. Now you're Northwest Metro, right?
Yes.
Yeah, if there's an issue, give me a shout on it. If you and your region secretary can't get it figured out, and I do have some athletic training contacts that I might be able to help fill that need for you.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Hey, I got just one more question.
Yep.
So when my high school league account was first created, I got on the website and navigated around just to make sure I could see what was there.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't been on since like early September, but a lot of the coaches and information for the teams that are in my section wasn't really populated in the website. And I noticed today, we're supposed to set up and communicate with them. If they're still not in there for some of the schools, should I be reaching out to the athletic directors to get them to fill in that information?
Initially, my first start would say yes. And I would defer to Laura a little bit on this one. I just want to make sure. I know she's still on the call, but she had a couple other things going on. Carmen, did you want to hop in?
Yeah, so I reached out in mid-September to every AD in the state where we did not have a coach listed,
Okay.
and they've been working on it. And literally in this meeting, I was like, I need to go back and double check now. And then a week later, I looked to see. So I'd be surprised you're missing that many.
Okay. Well, like Centennial High School had a coaching change and athletic director change, for instance. So
they did, and I believe that is one that's
Yeah.
still outstanding. So Brian, that is on my to-do list. And then as soon as I've checked in, we can pull the list again, and I'll make sure. So I can reach out so that you don't have to do that.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, with that, I'm gonna just say thank you again for your commitment to work with us and to host. And if there are any questions or any additional needs, reach out to myself or Chris, and we'll get answers to you or get help, like in Brian's case, of potentially needing help with an athletic trainer or something along those lines. So I'm excited for it. I'm very appreciative of your commitment to help us get the state tournament off to a good start. And like I said, if there's any questions or needs, please do not hesitate to reach out. I'll stay on here for a little bit if anyone else wants to or has any questions or wants to chat about anything. But if you don't, feel free to get running. And if there's anything, like I said, just reach out and we'll do our best to help facilitate whatever you need. So with that, thank you again, and have a great tournament. Have a great meet. Thanks.